habit of ours of greeting people by that title and then their name. Brother Emma, or senior sister or uncle, auntie, and whatever else that we use. You see, the average person may think, why do they do that? Right, Obehi, let me talk about this book of yours. It's an amazing book. First, as Dr. Marcia just said, for me, it was a journey down memory lane. It really was, and take me back to my childhood. I mentioned, for those who weren't here earlier, I grew up in Irua, next village to Urumi, where this book is pretty much set. So I was hooked from the first word. I really was. I was thinking, wow, what can I see? What can I see in the book? So let me share some of the things that truly struck me. And you say you're emotional over here. For me, it really was going back to my childhood. It really was going back to my roots. And that's a weird thing to happen in a book these days, as you well say. My granddad wrote a book about the Ishan, it's called Ishan, Native Laws and Customs with Ethnographic Studies of the Ishan people. That was written donkeys, literally, 50s, 60s, 70s. So that's the first book I ever saw about our culture. And this is the second book I've seen about our culture. So well done you, my friend. So here's the things I picked out, which really have struck me and stuck with me. I think you go to great lengths to explain this habit of ours of greeting people by their title and then their name. Brother Emma, or senior sister or uncle, auntie, and whatever else that we use. You see, the average person may think, why do they do that? Why do they use it? Why do they use these titles? Now, the fact that you gave it a whole page, I was like, because to us, it's important. It's so important to us. It's huge. I don't call Dr. Ayo. I know what his name is. I'm fully aware what his name, but he has a title. And also as a Nigerian, as someone from Ishan community, I'm forced to call him by his title first. That's one of the lessons I think we just learn as kids. Those who hear me on LinkedIn, even though I left Nigeria 35 years ago, you hear me always mention Pastor Alo, Pastor Hebron, Auntie Joy, Brother Zion. If other people who are not, at that level for me, I'll sir, Mr, Miss, before I say your name, because for us Asian people, it's a sign of love, a sign of appreciation, a sign of respect. Even if you're younger than me, I'll still give you the respect that you deserve. So that's one of the big lessons that I think we need to learn, and that's one of the things that we need to pass on next generation. Luckily, my son's 14. Of course, he's very British. Never been to Nigeria, but lucky for me, he understands this thing about titles. He happily walk around all day. Hello, sir. Good morning, sir. And I'm like, are you my son, really? But he is. It's a joy. Every person from Ishan understands the importance of titles. So let's go on to the next thing that really struck me. Again, it's a weird thing for us, which you mentioned in the book. You mentioned that all of us have different names. I heard you call yourself Peter earlier. I don't know if anyone else heard it. So we've all got different names. Almost every person from Ishan has an Ishan name. But see, these names, like I say, they're embedded in our souls. They are our identity. It's like a tattoo on our minds. These names, they follow us everywhere we go. But guess what, my friends? These names are not written down anywhere, as you say in the book, Obehi. It doesn't. These names don't really exist. They only exist in our minds, in the people's minds. How weird is that? See, when I was growing up, my name was Ugbisi. Everyone called me Ugbisi. That was the name I answered. That was the last name I knew I was. So strange then when I came back to England and found that my name is Enyekan. I was like, what? Enyekan? Really? So that's what's on my birth certificate. Ugbisi is under the mind of Asian people. You know, it's a weird thing, and no, so as you know, I get it, my friend. You know, I think you have to have been there to really understand it. You see, I get calls from people randomly. No, I get calls and messages on LinkedIn, on every social media platform. Oh, I know, I knew you when you were a kid. Yeah. The test for everyone, my friend, is simply, what's my name? If you call me Obehi, I know you knew me. If you didn't call me Obehi, I know you never knew me. That's how important these names that we have in Nigeria or in Asian language are to all of us. You know, and you know, it's a cultural thing. It's a deep cultural thing that really that got me even more hooked. Now, so the third one I want to mention, you mentioned some of the things that we used to do as kids. As kids in Nigeria, kids in Ishan, you mentioned the poverty. Poverty wasn't my thing. You know, I grew up in a rich household, but I did the same things as you did, my friend. You know, we were just kids. You explained this in the book beautifully as well. And we were just kids. You know, kids in Ishan villages we don't ask questions. We're just happy just being kids. We wake up every day with joy. We just run around in the bush. You know, we play all day with other kids. We do the things that we do now. We go and cut stick broom. You know, so it's plants that we cut and then shape into almost like the twigs of a broom. You know, like the spiky bits of a brush, but they're long. You know, and these brooms that we used to make, which are tied with a string, and we used to just sweep. We sweep yards all day in Ishan, in Nigeria, in Iroa. We sweep outside. Here's the balmy thing over here. Hopefully you'll agree. We tend to sweep areas that will just get dusty again. You know, in England, if you sweep, then the dust probably won't come back for a while. You know, in Nigeria, there's sand everywhere. So as soon as you sweep, which we're obliged to do as kids, then the sand would just come back. But we still enjoyed this activity, just making brooms, and almost God knows how many hours we spent making brooms. You know, cutting firewood. Oh my God, how long we spent doing that. You know, farming. You mentioned farming a couple of times over here. You know, I had a farm. So I left Nigeria at 13. When we say farming, we mean a little plot of land that someone's given us. So that's the family, or that's someone else who said you can use this bit of land to plant what you like. And I planted corn. That was my thing. You know, and we used to tend that bit of farm like our lives depended on it. But I feel like you say over here in the book, it was never enough to feed the whole family. But we loved doing that farm. We gave it all the attention and all the love it ever deserved. We tried to learn how to do better products, better harvests. You know, so the book just took me all the way back there again. I was thinking, wow, might as well be there now. And even I'm in England, it's nearly 50. Go back to my childhood as I was. See, here's a fascinating thing, my friend. You know, see, for a generation of us, again, this is the essence of the book. You know, we grow up, we live Nigeria, you know, and wherever we are, we understand our culture over here. We understand who we are. We understand how our world really works. See, as I say that in the context of the oldest son's role never changes. I'm lucky. I'm the oldest son in my family. And I remember, again, this is all thanks to the book taking me back to that moment where, remember when my dad died, and I got a call, oh, your dad's died. You have to go and do what you have to do in terms of the burial and all sorts. Once we've done everything, you know, I was there with my sisters. I got two sisters, one older, one younger. And there was that moment suddenly dawned on me. You know, it dawns on your head, on your shoulders. It dawns on you that it's all on me now. I'm the eldest son. This family is now my responsibility. You know, it's like I say, you know, that hasn't crossed my mind for ages, for years. You know, but I know what that moment feels like. You know, of course. You know, being the one responsibility, you know, you have to wear the crown. That's what your books reminded me of, really. You know, of course, I can't tell my siblings what to do. I can't tell my sister what to do, or my younger one what to do, because they're adults. But like you say in the book, there's something about modeling the behavior and the way of thinking that we know works, the right things, which everyone then follows. You haven't got to beat it into them. That's what people might think. It's just a thing. I think you mentioned in the book, kids just do the right thing because they see others doing the right thing. So that was a moment for me to think, wow, this really is how we got to where we are. Of course, our siblings will learn from each other, and if the youngest one does something good, we will learn. But I know my role as a firstborn, as a first son, not firstborn, first son, the oldest son in the family, is huge. Much like Emmanuel's story. Emmanuel took on the role because there's no other choice. See, I see so much of me in Emmanuel's story. Dr. Marcia mentioned it beautifully just now. When you look at Emmanuel's story, Obehi, it's a story of truly overcoming. It's a story of starting where you are, working through your challenges. You win some, you learn from the others. Ultimately, for our generation at least, Emmanuel and me and you, Obehi, we're lucky to move out of the village, move out of Nigeria. But still, when we move out, there's still Nigeria in us. There's still that sense of duty in us, that sense of responsibility. Where Emmanuel has gone on to get his degree, now he has a great business, is successful, and almost all these things that he's been through were stepping stones to where he is today. I see that in me. I see that in you, my brother. I truly do. I'm sure you do too. That, my friends, is an inspiration to all of us. So I'll leave it at this, my friends. Let me end here. I don't want to talk all day. See, I think your book achieves many of the goals you set over here. You share our cultural norms beautifully. In a way that if you weren't there, you'd say you can see it, you can feel it. You share your story, Emmanuel's story, in a way that truly inspires us. How to face challenges, how to undertake self-development like he did, how to strive to be somebody. That's important. Again, I think from the book, I think we can learn about cultural identity. The question, who are we? I was talking to Joshua a couple of days ago, maybe 2 days ago. They were explaining how many people have problems because they have no anchor, they have no sense of identity. Now, you mentioned that we should know about our parents and our grandparents going back seven generations. So I know 3. That's good enough for me. Joshua mentioned to me, many people don't even know, that they just haven't got a clue. They can't even look. They can't see it. When they look back, they see nothing. So that almost ruins their minds. It corrupts who they think they are. Then they spend a lifetime trying to work out, who am I? When they should be getting on with living life and achieving the true purpose that Dr. Marcia mentioned just now. That's it. Knowing our cultural traditions, as you do, as you mentioned in the book, is a great help. We can't pass on what we don't know. Our kids can never learn what we don't know. That's Dr. Ayu mentioned. Our kids can't learn what we don't teach them. Your book is a great way to pass on all of those messages. But the sense of identity is the one that probably strikes me the most. On all of those points, my friend, I give you a round of applause. Genuinely, you've done very well. This book's definitely worth the read. Thank you for giving me your time, everyone.